Hello, you're watching The Final Cut. Scandals, awkward situations, and loud statements. Fresh news from the front. Marvel and DC are funny as always. Anthony Mackie just buried all hopes of Captain America's success with one statement. The strange Spider-Man animated series was suddenly renewed for 2 seasons, and Chris Evans suddenly denied rumors of a return to Doomsday. We'll talk about everything in the next couple of minutes, right after your like and comment. Well, let's start with the good news. Benedict Cumberbatch denied his own words that he would not be in the next Avengers. The actor said that he was mistaken and is now preparing for filming, which will begin in March this year, and in general, you should not trust him, because of the secrecy of Marvel, he is always forced to lie. How should this be interpreted? The devil only knows. It's one thing to simply deny his appearance in the film, but in the summer, Cumberbatch said that he had read the script and would be in Doomsday, and then he took a back seat. Now it turns out that Benedict changed his shoes for the 3rd time. To be honest, it seems that after the interview about the script they read, Marvel knocked the actor on the head and asked him to deny participation in the film, which Cumberbatch did in the interview, but too zealously. So much so that the fans got upset, and Marvel had to call the actor again and now ask him to confirm the appearance. By the way, Chris Evans found himself in a similar situation the other day when he was asked directly about returning to the role of Steve Rogers for Avengers 5. Evans resorted to Garfield's method without incident, saying that no one called him at all and he feels great in retirement. Of course, do not rush to get upset, because it was not the Know It journalists who talked about Chris's return, but the Wrap and quite serious publications with sources in Hollywood. Therefore, we are faced with a classic situation where the stars comply with the terms of the contract until the official announcement. The question of which incarnation the actor will return to the franchise is still open. Some believe that it will be good old Steve Rogers, who will somehow be pulled out of his peaceful life with Peggy. Others are betting on Captain Hydra, who, a la Doctor Doom, will become one of the antagonists for the Avengers. Both options have the right to life. The first one is good because it will give you the return of a long-loved character. The second one will allow you to evaluate the previously unseen role of an actor who can reveal a sinister side. In any case, we are waiting for Steve's return, as it seems that his replacement, does not take out. There's only a little bit left before the premiere of Captain America 4, so you can find various interviews with the cast online. In particular with Anthony Mackie, who, with his statements, set fire to the 5th points of some viewers. Firstly, the actor called the rumors about large-scale reshoots and exaggerated stuffing, referring to the fact that almost every Marvel or DC movie comic goes through this stage, and the haters simply do not want the Black Captain America to be successful at the box office. Well, secondly, Mackie stated that Captain America does not represent the United States. He is a symbol of honor and dignity, and leads people around the world. Everything is clear with the first statement, as the actor unsuccessfully tries to save the sinking ship. Ordinary pre-filming of a movie usually does not last about a month, and if you follow the chronology, at least once Captain America was thoroughly reshot, cutting out the snake community and a bunch of other details. And God help him, because the main problem is the second statement. Patriotic Americans, to put it mildly, were not thrilled with the actor's words that the character literally in the colors of the US flag is not a symbol of America. Some even interpreted the phrase as a hint that Mackie believes that the United States is no longer a symbol of honor and dignity. The arrival of Donald Trump, whom Hollywood hates, was immediately tied to the case, and off she went. So much so that the Macs were alarmed by Disney to refute their words. But the sentiment remained. The premiere of the 4th Cap will be a huge challenge for Marvel. Expectations from him were already low. And then Mackie added fuel to the fire with his phrase. In the event of a failure which looks inevitable to the producer, he will have to rethink his plans for Anthony Mackie, who is shouting with might and main that he is ready to wear the Cap mantle for the next 10 years. But even if the 4th Cap fails, fans should not get upset, because in a month the premiere of the series Rip Off the Head, Born Again, will take place, the trailer of which has become one of the most viewed in the history of Disney+. In the comments, many people ask if it's worth starting to watch the project if you haven't watched the Netflix series before. Our answer is yes. The studio is well aware that not everyone can afford to watch 39-hour episodes, so the 4th season can be treated as an easy reboot that will start a completely new story. And there will definitely be flashbacks with all the right scenes, so don't worry. It's worth evaluating the last 3 seasons, as they reveal the background of the main characters in more detail. And thanks to the street lore, you will understand that even during the Infinity Saga, the cinematic universe was rich in events of various scales. But if you don't have the time and energy, no problem. Start from scratch. The situation can be compared to the first two parts of Terminator, when the sequel, although it is a continuation of a successful film, also told an independent story. The creators themselves try to convince in almost every interview that they have tried to surpass all 3 seasons from Netflix on all fronts. They cite HBO's successful Penguin as an example to follow. This applies both to revealing characters from a darker and deeper side, interesting visual solutions, and demonstrating cruelty. If you think that Deadpool and Wolverine were the apogee of vulgarity and excesses, then wait for the moments when Daredevil starts breaking his opponent's arms, legs, and other body parts, and the main antagonist in the person of Muse will be in the frame impaling his victims on meat hooks. In the UK, the show has already officially received an 18+ rating, which was previously possible only for the first 2 seasons of The Punisher. Even the 3 seasons of Daredevil from Netflix were under a lighter rating of 16+. In other news, Vincent D'Onofrio stated that the entire first season is a preparation for something big. I would like to believe that we are on the verge of the birth of the Street Avengers arc, which will last a very long time. Don't be surprised if we get a juicy teaser for the 4th installment of Tom Holland's Spider-Man at the end. Speaking of which, popular insider Daniel Richtman has confirmed that for the 4th installment of Spider-Man starring Tom Holland, the studio is actively looking for an actress to play the second half of the main character. That is, even if Zendaya appears in the picture, the finale of No Way Home will remain untouched. There are many options for girlfriends. The first one is Gwen Stacy. After the Emma Stone version, of course, it's hard to imagine a more perfect embodiment of the heroine. However, if we take as a basis an image from a series of cartoons about the web of universes, then we can get an organic half for Peter Parker version of Holland. There are even rumors that the studio is considering rising actress Emma Myers for this role. How do you like this approach? The second and simplest option is a black cat. The heroine is interesting because, in fact, she is primarily a Spider-Man girl, that is, an ideal match for a guy who has decided to give up his personal life in order to fight criminals. And besides, we haven't seen her incarnation on big screens before, so the authors have a great trump card up their sleeve to surprise the audience. Well, the third option is a completely new character. It can be a mix of several girls at once, as previously done with MJ, or something fresh. In any case, the first casting news should be expected in the coming months. Therefore, we recommend that you carefully monitor our social networks to stay informed. Well, we conclude our issue with a brief overview of the animated series, Your Friendly Neighbor Spider-Man. We watched the first episodes and confidently declare that the show has come out, specific. And it's not just the terrible animation and backdrop work, but the fact that this is another unremarkable spider show designed for a children's audience and also completely saturated with agenda solutions. Were you angry because Norman Osborn's skin color had changed? Buckle up, because they decided to make Dr. Connors a black woman. Of course, the work does not look like an outright failure, but it is nowhere near the level of the grandiose Spider, and even more so the project of the 90s, which formed a whole generation of folk geeks. We admit that such a plot may appeal to someone, in particular because of the style and the spirit of classic comics of the 60s, and tons of references to both pop culture and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But we do not recommend treating the creation with caution, just because the series was originally conceived and advertised as a prequel to Tom Holland's Spider-Man story, hence the young version of the Spider Scale, and a very childish setting. But then the project was suddenly made non-canon, although the events of the Civil War from the main film universe and some others were left out. It looks like a flashback from the X-Men universe from Fox, where no one understood in which timeline what was happening. By the way, the project has officially been extended to a 3rd season, and that's another piece of bad news. All our dreams of continuing the Spider of the 90s in the coming years will remain untouched. And this is a huge loss, as X-Men 97 proved that more mature content is in great demand and is able to compete with major TV series on equal terms in drama. That is, while Sony is creating its own series and films based on the Spider-Man universe, Marvel, having the rights to the animated series, could prove that they are capable of challenging them. Take and prolong the legendary neogenic nightmare with the old-school Spider. But for now, unfortunately, we have another DIY in a hurry for the sake of selling merch. Will something more grow out of it? Time will tell. Of course, we recommend checking out the first episodes, but don't overestimate your expectations. That's it for us. Write in the comments how you feel about Benedict Cumberbatch's return to the role of Doctor Strange. Do you think Captain America 4 will be able to avoid failure? And what do you think about Daredevil's prospects in the future of the cinematic universe? See you soon, friends!